What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to our second pay-per-view point of the night. This is the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, and this is All Out 2019, AEW's biggest show of the year, possibly. It seems like that's going to be the case. So we're going to break down everything that just happened a few minutes ago and talk from top to bottom, bottom to top, all the matches, all the results, all of our thoughts on all that stuff. And we are the same usual suspects that you should be familiar with. But if you aren't, I am your host as always, Tony Mango, and joining me as always are Callum Wiggins.
What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to the New Japan Royal Quest post-show.
And Robert D. Felice, who also joined me on the takeover.
What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to the Smack Talk podcast, where we'll be breaking down CM Punk's Best in the World discussion.
If you haven't checked out Takeover, and you want to hear our thoughts on WWE the day of SummerSlam and that Adrian Street thing, and God, it's today. So we're obviously tired. We've gone through a lot, but we're going to try to keep things fun and entertaining for all of you, and we want you to do the same in the comment section below. So tell us what you think about this all throughout the podcast. Just fill us in on your comments on the comment section below on YouTube, and while you're doing that, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and ring that little bell for notifications to be aware of the next few things that are going to be happening. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. But let's just start diving into this here with the buy-in. It was 7 o'clock when the buy-in started, and it was 7:02 when the match started, which I was like, wow, isn't that a change of pace from WWE's pre-shows where it takes 45 minutes before the first match to start. And that first match was the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale. We had known, was it 11 people, 12 people ahead of time? And what was weird about this was they didn't even introduce the first group of people with any kind of like pizzazz. It was just, all right, they're in the ring. Let's just get started. Here are the 5 people or 4 of the people, or whatever. 2 of those were people that weren't even in the pre-announced set of people. So I didn't catch who the hell they even were. Do you know who those people were? Because I got notes on some of these, but I didn't get those names.
They were, Priscilla Kelly was one of them.
Yeah, I know her. But there's 2 other ones.
There's the one from AAA whose name escapes me, and another one whose name escapes me. Callum?
Fabio Pache and Shalandra Royal.
Thank you for being the only professional.
Well, Wikipedia is helpful.
Yeah, I just brought up the Wikipedia one now. These were the clubs. I have no idea who Shalandra Royal and Fabio Pache are, and I actually now don't know who they are just the same, because I don't even know which one was which. I didn't get to see them do anything.
Apache was the Mexican from AAA, and the other one whose name you just said and I already forgot, Royal, was the black chick, right?
I don't know. I mean, I could tell, obviously I know Nyla Rose now, I know Priscilla Kelly, and I know Leva Bates, but the other 2 were just the other 2, and they didn't do anything, and they got eliminated pretty quickly, so it was like, all right, well, you served your purpose. And I gotta say, one of my first notes here is, did not like the Leva Bates thing with her.
I thought it was funny.
I did not think that was funny at all. I thought that was, like, if it was supposed to be cool, you're biting off of people who do it better. If it was supposed to be funny, I didn't laugh.
I thought it was funny. So they got me.
Did you get a chance to check this out, Callum?
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
I didn't know if you were still kind of heading your way on the beginning of it or not.
No, I managed to catch all of it. I would say, just strictly as a general rule for this format for a Battle Royal is the absolute shit. It's terrible, and they're just doing it to try and be different, and it's not working. Go back to being an actual Battle Royal.
I like some aspects to it, and it could be a lot worse. Like, it could be the reverse Battle Royal and all that, but it's not nothing's going to beat the Royal Rumble.
I don't like 5 people walking to the ring side by side and then getting into the ring to beat each other up.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
It's just it's a gimmick. I don't know, like the Royal Rumble's good, but the Royal Rumble it functions because one person goes to the ring at a time. Whereas this is just, okay, so we can't do the Royal Rumble because then people will accuse us of doing the Royal Rumble. So we have to do something slightly different, but it's just like a gimmick for the sake of being a gimmick.
Yeah,
I liked it in Vegas. I mean, I thought the idea was shit in Vegas, but at least the whole pick a card thing made sense in Vegas. I didn't like it here.
Well, just like the buy-in, I don't think that it really makes a whole lot of sense now that it doesn't have that kind of thing either. But
I think the context is the idea of AEW is just that it's all a big gamble. and so everything they do has to be associated with the fact of, oh, let's see if we get it right on the slot machine this week. So,
you want to play 21?
That's gonna be something like they're gonna say, all right, well, the next AEW show is called Craps. Well, we'll get more into the next AEW show a little later on, but the Leva Bates thing's my first note, and then I have a note of that I forgot how impressive Penelope Ford was. She had a couple spots where I wasn't as good, but I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot that she's like exactly what WWE would be looking for in a different era and able to actually kind of do some stuff in the ring.
All right, this is something that needs to be addressed going forward, just to like real quickly. I think you're so laser focused on the WWE side of things that sometimes it clouds your vision when watching other brands because...
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, because one of the surprises here, you were like, yeah, now I want her to lose because I want her to be in WWE.
Oh, exactly. I'll flat out admit that. That's one of those things was Mercedes Martinez was in this match, and I should be, since I'm a fan of her, so excited for that. And I was like, God damn it, because I want her to be in WWE. There's certain people that I think fit better in one way or another. Like, I don't have an opinion one way or another about somebody like a Kip Sabian right now. But if you were to say, where is he better suited? I'm like, oh, that's AEW for sure. Whereas Mercedes Martinez, I'm like, man, she seems to be such a good person who would have fit really well in NXT to be a big fish in a smaller pond and somebody who can work with the next generation of people and kind of teach them really well. If she's in AEW, I feel like she's going to be kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. And by the time she gets to WWE, it's going to be too late. So I'm disappointed in that.
So you'd rather she be lost in the shuffle in WWE than lost in the shuffle in AEW?
I don't think she would be lost. I don't think she would though.
Well,
yes, she would.
If she wouldn't, then why isn't she signed?
That's just insanity to me. That's one of the issues.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I think she's not signed because Sarah Amato's not going anywhere right now. They don't see any value in her as a competitor. They see value in her as a trainer, and she still has some good time in the ring. And I think it's better suited in AEW if she's even signing full time.
But that's also another thing is we don't know if maybe Mercedes Martinez was offered a contract and she didn't want to go. Maybe she wanted to go to AEW. Maybe she's not even in AEW. And maybe this was just a guest spot because we know that somebody like Teal Piper is going to be working elsewhere. And for that matter, she might as well because she didn't do a damn thing in this match and she botched her exit.
She did a sleeper and got thrown through the middle rope. You leave her alone.
She was my least favorite part of this entire event, I think.
This was her first match. I didn't see any problem with it.
It showed.
Yeah, I was hoping that she'd at least seemed to have had some training before but it's clear that she just got in because of her name.
Mm-hmm.
And she could do one finger poke and an awful sleeper hold, and then failed to go over the top rope when she was thrown out, and so she had to go back in to be thrown out again.
And then act like she was like, no, oh, I'm so upset. And it's just like, duh, God, no. Meanwhile, there were some great additions to this, too. I know that your girl, Nicole Savoy, Rob, was in here. And
she did fucking nothing.
I know, nobody did anything in this match. This was the Nyla Rose match. What the fuck? Like,
that's the problem I have with something like that, where I was like, oh, cool, they brought Nicole Savoy in. She wasn't somebody that I was super into in the Mae Young Classic, but that ought to be nice. And then the next thing you know, she's getting bopped in the head like she's a cartoon character from Looney Tunes. And then before I know it, she's out. And I'm like, all right, well, that's something. And Tennille Dashwood, Emma from WWE, for those who know her there, she's working for Impact, I think, right?
Not under her contract.
Okay, so then that gave her a little bit of room to be able to work here. I don't remember her doing a single thing. ODB was in here. That was like, cool,
she
ODB.
Got a pop. Like, she was super over. I was surprised by that.
And I didn't hear that they said ODB, and I thought that they said, like, BDB or DBP or something, and I was just like, who the fuck are they talking about? And then as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh, neat. I don't know, like, what she did in the match, but that's cool that she was brought in. which I can say about a couple
She
different
threw
people.
out Teal Piper.
See, I didn't even know that she was the one that did that. I just know that Piper botched her thing. That's all I had seen. Sadie Gibbs had a good showing here. Maybe don't do a springboard in the future, though. And my overall perspective of this whole match was some parts were really good. Like, I'm glad that they incorporated the feud between Britt Baker and Bea Priestley. I like that. Some things were really awful, like the Teal Piper thing, some sloppy spots here and there where they were botched. Some additions to it were really neat, like the ODB pop and whatever. And then some of them were just, okay, who are these people? And it was the Nyla Rose show. And I'm the more I think about this, the more deflated I am about it. It started off with me being like, this is a fun match and all this other kind of stuff. And the more that I'm just kind of like, I don't know. And I think that that's partially because of what happened later on in the night with Riho and Hikaru Shida.
I'm glad that they have a direction for Britt Baker, because I really thought she would be the one winning this thing, but I think they want to go with the history-making aspect of Nyla Rose, even though, don't get me wrong, she's not winning. I think Riho is absolutely winning, but they got Nyla Rose in the match. They want to build her up as the homegrown, larger girl, rather than have like Awesome Kong go in immediately. That's another thing. She kind of got tossed out, and it was kind of unceremonious. I like the match. I don't ever want to see another Christina Battle Royale, but like this was fine. The men got one, the women got one. We can move on now, right?
I thought this match was a complete dumpster fire until it made it to the final three. I really wasn't impressed with anything. It was too botch heavy. Even if there were a few like decent spots and a few cool moments in between it, it just timing issues and so many mistakes and issues. It was hard to get into. Then it got down to the final three, and it was three people that could actually seemingly work well together. And Bea Priestley and Britt Baker being towards the final end is good because it means that they have a feud to build up to, which hopefully can be with one of them becoming the next challenger for the title. And I'm not like sour on the idea of Nyla Rose being one of the first people to challenge, because I think there's a lot of raw potential there with her. She's clearly green and she clearly needs to develop a little more, needs a bit more like reps under her belt. But I think that she has something about her which is going to be really, maybe just like really developed well down the line, as long as she's treated correctly.
See, I'm of that opinion that I think that she's completely getting the championship, and I don't feel like it's based off of skill, at least based off of that cartwheel kick. And that is a little annoying to me, because then I feel like it's something that I don't like that people do, which is kind of like throw out what should be the determining factors of success and give it for something else. I get the story, I get the whole publicity behind it and all that. I feel like in this match, which had its flaws, there were 6 or 7 other people I would think should be better suited to challenge.
Here's why I still think, even with all the publicity and all that, that it's going to go to Riho. They really, really want to put over the Joshi element of their women's division. They've gone on record as saying, this is like our WCW Cruiserweights. This is going to be great. This is going to be the next big thing. And during that match, JR must have said about 50 times that, oh my God, Riho is so little. She's like 90 pounds. She's tiny. They're totally going to hammer home that it's a feel-good moment that she got by Nyla Rose.
98 pounds, I think is what they had said. Which is like, wow. How am I 70 pounds more than this person? Let's talk about the championship. I think it's ugly.
I like it. I don't know why you don't like it.
Because it looks like a friggin' egg. It's like a Fabergé egg.
What's wrong with the Fabergé egg? It's a nice looking title.
It's fine for a Fabergé egg, but for a title, I don't like that shape at all. And the championship design itself, all it looks like is sparkly gold. I can't tell or discern like any pattern in it.
Did you see the close-up picture of it, like on the match graphic, not on the like close-up shot of the title?
I don't think I've seen that graphic.
I'll send it to
something
you.
about it.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because right now, not feeling it. What are you thinking, Callum? Yeah,
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I've got no opinion of that. The one thing I appreciate about it is the fact that it's called the Women's World Championship.
Right, I agree.
Because
your women's little touch.
Because your women's champion should be a world champion.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. I thought it would have been called the Women's Egg Championship.
God damn it, Tony.
It would be called the Ovum Championship then.
Well, they would work well with that friggin'
yes,
the Battle Royal thing.
The Fallopian Tube.
The Fallopian Tube Battle Royal that they did in WWE. God, that was an awful statue. I really hope that they could get rid of that. China Memorial Battle Royal. I'm saying, just do it. Really should have been a thing. We should just skip ahead and just talk about Riho and Hikaru Shida. They wrestled. I thought it was a good match. I was surprised that Riho won. I don't know if that's the best course of action to go with, because right now, I'm not interested in Nyla Rose versus Riho, and that's not the feeling that I should be getting out of it, obviously, because they wanted me to be super packed with excitement.
I like Hikaru Shida a little bit more, but I think the bigger story here is Riho, and she's got more dates signed with the company, and she's like Kenny Omega's pet project. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but they're very close. And I know that the women are actually Kenny's pet project, and he's taken a lot of interest in them, and I think the Joshi are a big part of that.
I'm probably coming across very harsh. It's been a long day, but this match bored the fuck out of me. I was so uninterested. It went on far too long. It was just two women doing moves.
Well, that's
no story.
Everything.
Well, yeah, I know, but there's no story. There was no hook. There was no interest. It was just a slightly bigger woman doing like strikes and occasional throws, and a smaller woman just doing roll-ups all the time.
That's my issue with AEW in general, is it's hard to really review a lot of things when it ends up boiling down to just being two people fight each other.
Again, it will be something that will hopefully be fixed with the TV when they actually have week-to-week storytelling. Right now, it's just them trying to put on the best matches possible to try and hook an audience in and keep them entertained up until that point.
I will say this ahead of time, everybody that's wondering about it. It's going to be impossible for me to do AEW coverage and NXT coverage, and I'm prioritizing NXT because that is overall like the bigger thing for me and the thing that I actually enjoy more too. And if push comes to shove and AEW doesn't improve on a lot of those aspects, there might not be AEW coverage on smarkoutmoment.com. I don't know. It's going to depend.
Dallas, as far as the television show, are one of the people who writes for Smark Out Dallas will likely be doing something for AEW. And yeah, I'm sure we'll cover the pay-per-views as long as we can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in that boat yet, but there's things that bother me about this event, obviously. Let's backtrack. Let's go to the other part of the buy-in, which was Private Party against Angélico and Jack Evans, which I thought was fine match, and some good parts in it here and there. My favorite part of the whole thing is something that was kind of stupid, but little funny moment with Quen's glasses falling, and then Jack Evans just kicking them, and everybody being like, asshole. That was my favorite part of the whole thing, which most people would be like, I love this, or would I love that? Can't say that I loved the unsafe hurricanranas and moments like that throughout the whole thing, but overall it was good.
I like Private Party. There's money in Private Party. I think the gin and juice is a fucking cool finisher. It's a top rope Frankensteiner into a RKO, and I think that's awesome. By the way, way too many cutters on this show. I didn't even see every little detail because I was busy writing news, but I kept hearing Cutter, Ace Crusher, Cutter. And yeah, I think a little too much.
Well,
But
I mean, look at the people that we're working with. People who grew up watching Austin and Michaels, so everything's a super kick and a cutter.
yeah,
And the people
but
who grew up watching Rey Mysterio, so there's where the Hurricanranas come in.
but I really did enjoy this match, and I enjoy Private Party, and I think they're going to be something really fun to watch in the future.
Yeah, I thought this match was a lot of fun. Again, it's just a match, really, so there's nothing too much to really grip you, other than the fact that these guys all are very athletic and can do a lot of cool stuff. I'm getting more and more sold on Private Party as being like not so much like the complete article yet, but they have a lot of upside and a lot of athleticism. Jack Evans was great in this match. Angélico, I think he's not the same Angélico I remember from Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah, they turned heel, by the way.
Oh yeah, well I'd already considered them heel anyway because of their, well, especially Jack Evans because of the Lucha Underground stuff, because he only ever really seems to work well as a heel. But yeah,
they made it official at the very least.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a nice showcase for both teams. It's right the Private Party wins because if they're going into a match with the Young Bucks, they need to have a bit of like build behind them.
That's right.
And then we went in about 8 minutes or whatever of, hey, look at this person in the crowd. And look at this person in the crowd. And look at this person in the crowd. It really was like 7-8 minutes. And that drove
it was
me.
Not.
Oh, it had to have been. Because I'm pretty sure I looked at the clock and it was like 7:52 or something at the time.
Yeah, it definitely was that length of time.
How was there 8 minutes of look at this person in the crowd?
Well,
kept going on.
It was those guys. It was just the camera panning to people in the crowd while JR and Excalibur and Golden Boy just talked.
Was this the part where JR was like, God, we need closed captions on those hand signals. What do they say?
No, that was later on, which he, full old man mode of being, where they were like, well, they're hand signs and whatever. And he's like, yeah, but I don't fucking get it. And then even after, they're like, well, they're it's like an AEW kind of thing. I don't know, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Kids with their goddamn hands.
They're closing up on their mouths, where they're just like, the elite, the elite. And JR's like, I don't understand this.
Kids today with their fucking hands. So that was the buy-in, and if you want to be interested in buying more stuff, hey, there's a merch shop, TeePublic, Redbubble, Smark Out Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and A Mango Tees. There's also the Patreon if you want me to not do stupid puns like that in the future. Toss $1 my way, or $5 or whatever it is. Take advantage of those different tiers, get us to do some more stuff here, and save me from my insanity that's creeping up on me more and more as days go along. If you listen to the Takeover one, you'll notice there's a bit of a difference from my point of view here versus earlier. Just saying. We went
from like bang bang boom to just we're done. We're worn out.
It was like, well, this is pretty quick. This is pretty good. There were some positive things, whatever, to being like, I'm fucking burned out. Alrighty, well, let's go to the first match of the actual main card here, which was SoCal Uncensored doing their best impression of the DX promo, which fell short, against a boy and his dinosaur.
No. A small boy, and his dinosaur.
Oh, they said a small boy? I thought it was a boy and a boy.
A small boy, a boy, and his dinosaur. The Jungle Express.
I thought it was Jurassic Express.
Yeah, it's Jurassic Express.
What did I say?
So it's a small boy and a Jurassic Jungle Boy Express boy.
It
could have been worse. You could have been JR on commentary, keep calling him Jungle Jack instead of Jungle Boy.
I didn't even catch that.
No, every time he was calling him Jungle Jack Perry. Yeah.
Jack of the jungle, strong as he could be.
Watch out for those closed captioning. I mentioned before the DX kind of promo ahead of time. I did not dig that thing, but I will say one of my favorite parts about this was the effect of the camera shaking with Luchasaurus's intro.
Yeah,
that was a neat little touch. I like that quite a bit. And to go along with the theme, Luchasaurus again, fucking awesome.
He's
I
so good.
I imagine, like, of all people on this show, if Vince McMahon or anybody from WWE is watching, they look at Luchasaurus and think, "How the fuck did we miss this guy?" Because
Yeah,
And
good
they-
old Judas Devlin turned
They
into
had-
this.
they had it. It's like he's huge. He's like got lethal kicks. He's extremely athletic, can do dives out of the ring and everything along those lines. And it's just
He's a fucking dinosaur too. Like, does it get any better?
yeah,
He stood out to me again as easily one of my top favorite people of the night.
And Jungle Boy is great. I like Jungle Boy a lot. Marco's fun. You know, Marco's something.
Not quite on the Marco train.
I appreciate him being part of this trio because it means that there's always a guy that can lose who's not Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus.
That's true. That's his biggest benefit. Other
Yeah.
than that, it sounds kind of mean to compare him to him, but it's like, it's kind of like booking Nicholas a little bit. He's clearly not 15 or whatever, but it's like, it comes off like that. I can't buy Marco's stunt in any circumstances, putting up a fight against somebody and not having to suspend my disbelief too much.
What about Orange Cassidy?
Oh, Orange Cassidy's just fucking talented. Like, the way that he could do that shit, that's just talent. Give that guy the belt.
Okay.
I'm not in the slightest bit being facetious either. I think that Orange Cassidy's one of the best people that they've got.
Oh, God, this show was fun.
So SCU wins that match. I'm happy to see that. I was confused about the little show of respect at the end.
I think Marco got legitimately hurt.
He was just checking up on them, and then they kind of rolled the dice, which doesn't work with All Out instead of Double or Nothing either.
Well, SCU aren't heels. It's. I know it's an odd thing to say that, considering the fact that they start their promo by saying this is the worst town that we've ever been in, but they don't. They're not actually. Even though they kind of played heels on this one, it's because Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt are just like really good white meat baby faces.
Yeah, they're de facto baby faces
Yeah.
every time.
Whereas SCU, they do the chant at the start of it. They're baby faces as well. So I imagine both of them will be facing heel teams in the tournament if they're both in it.
Yeah, I like SCU. I think they're all good, you know?
Yeah. Thumbs up for me on SCU. All three of them, I think, are very advantageous for the roster, especially
You know-
Scorpius guy.
You know what was not a thumbs up for me, Tony?
What's
Putting Pac and Kenny Omega on as the second match of the show.
You know, it's hard for me to kind of rearrange this in a way that I think would be necessarily better, but I don't know. There's two moments in this card that I felt didn't feel like, if you were to take away the knowledge that I had ahead of time of like some certain things, like the Kenny Omega situation should have been with Moxley and some other kind of stuff, then I'll just say it. The Best Friends and Dark Order thing and the main event didn't feel like they were in the right spot for me. And maybe it would have been better if they would have done the Cracker Barrel clash and then the Best Friends thing and then Pac and Omega. I think that might have worked out a little bit better that way. But Pac and Omega becomes Pac-Win or Pac-Win. Pac-Win. And a Pac-Win. That just popped in my mind. Pac wins with a submission victory that I thought was kind of interesting, kind of meh. I'm not really too sure. They were really kind of having a lot of fun throughout the match and nearly injuring themselves, which was a common theme of this night. And a good match, but something that I also felt a little disconnected to.
Look, this is going to be blasphemy, and I'll admit I'm in a bit of a crabby mood by this point in the night, and I didn't get to see as much of this as I wanted to, like really sit down and try to enjoy it. However, what I saw of this, I really was annoyed with. It just, like Callum said about Hikaru and Riho, it's like this was just two dudes doing moves, and you knew it was supposed to be something more, and it never clicked until that finish. That finish kind of bumped up the match for me because I really enjoyed seeing Kenny Omega lose by submission, and it kind of established Pac as I'm here to stay, and I'm interested to see where they go forward. I kind of had Kenny pegged for that, okay, he's going to lose every match vibe, because I figure you can tell a great redemption story with that. But with Pac, that's going to get weird to say, I just think he's back where he should have been, and now it kind of feels like Moxley's out of the loop.
Feeling one way or another, Callum?
Well, if what Rob was saying is blasphemy, I'll go with the blasphemy of the fact that I slept through this entire match. So I can't even comment on any. I cannot recall a single thing that happened in it. I know I was awake for parts of it, but I cannot tell you anything that happened.
I bet you could, though. That's the thing.
Well, I could probably guess that I assume Kenny kneed him in the head probably about a dozen times, and Park either landed or attempted to land the red arrow at some point, and there was some dives to the outside.
There you go. That's the match.
Yeah, you saw the match, yeah?
Yeah, so that's one of my big complaints about AEW and that style wrestling. If people have their signature moves and there's not really anything to it, and to be fair, it's partially not their fault because this wasn't supposed to be the match, but if there's not something more to it that's like a story to kind of get hooked into or something, then it just becomes rewatching a series of moves that you've seen before. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, if he hits 3 V-triggers in a row or something, he'll hit a 4th. Or, you know what I mean?
Dude, the V-trigger thing, and I've talked about this when watching New Japan, it just gets a little weird that these people just survive these rapid-fire knees to the face. You really have to suspend your disbelief for that. And again, I need to rewatch this match. I'm not fully gonna go with my first impression, but I kind of want more from Omega, and this made me want the Moxley match that much more, because I want something new and fresh from Kenny. And this is actually the interesting thing for me. I don't know how Kenny is gonna hold up on week-to-week TV.
I think, again, maybe if we're all just saying comments that maybe will get a lot of people angry at us, might as well say this one here. I'm starting to wonder if Kenny Omega was carried by Kazuchika Okada for those matches.
Oh, he's so... Oh!
That may be the second most controversial thing that you've said on here, behind not liking chocolate.
Yeah, like, damn.
I mean, there's no doubt that Kenny Omega's a great wrestler, but is he the really top of the cream of the crop level that Okada clearly is at?
It comes down to this: the Elite is left to their own devices in this promotion because they run it, right? Cody has told great wrestling stories, and they're easy, they're simple, they're relatable, they work in this format. The Bucks do spots, and that's either going to hit or miss. And with Kenny, it constantly seems like he's trying to be in an episode of Dragon Ball Z, and I don't know if it works outside of Japan.
Which, to be fair, it's good that they have 3 different aspects of where they're bringing things to the table. Like, Cody is bringing that WCW, WWE side of things. Young Bucks are bringing that Ring of Honor side of things. Kenny Omega is bringing the New Japan side of things. They're all kind of like merging. But since we haven't seen all that quite yet, and we haven't seen the crossover between that, we're basically just seeing, like, the Young Bucks wrestle a Young Bucks match 4 times. Kenny Omega wrestles a Kenny Omega match 4 times. And that is where the TV is going to be really interesting, because at some point they're going to have people taking control over other different things. Cody is not the one that's in charge of the tag team division, yet at some point Cody's going to have to call the shots about tag team matches.
I think they're going to keep it divisive as long as they can. If they can keep the Bucks in their own lane, I think they're going to do that.
I just want to go on with the Omega thing. It's hard to continue to like have the best bout machine moniker when you haven't had the best match on any of the AEW shows that you've had done so far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's true.
I know but I'm glad we're getting here because I was actually a little worried that when I was watching this match, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna be the only one that really didn't like it, and it's gonna be weird. No, this match for me was blah. Like I've seen it, and yeah, I'm gonna agree with Callum. Kenny Omega hasn't had a really wow match since leaving Japan, and even his last match in Japan wasn't like this blowaway match. And it does concern me because you were kind of the money. You were the money player, right? Like we all love the Bucks and Cody, but it was we get Kenny Omega full time. And I don't know if I'm enthralled with what we're getting right now.
I will obviously preface that with the fact that my vision is kind of clouded by the fact that I went to that New Japan Royal Quest show and saw it live. And obviously the live experience tampers it a little bit, but I saw the main event of Okada against Suzuki and thought, well, this is the greatest match I've ever seen live. And it's hard to just go that and then watch this. And but just as an overall opinion show, this entire show was so inferior to my experience on seeing that New Japan show.
But again, that's not something that you should be apologizing for.
Oh no, I'm not
because,
apologizing.
like,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't apologize for the fact that I appreciate from everything I've seen in AEW. It's not that I don't want AEW to succeed. I don't want AEW to get better, and I don't want it to deliver and anything along those lines. It's just I'm a fan of New Japan. New Japan. I prefer New Japan to WWE. I prefer New Japan to AEW. I prefer New Japan to any other promotion that I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal preference, and other people could disagree with that. Other people could watch New Japan and think that they don't get it, they don't enjoy it, and that's perfectly fine. Just I go to watch that, and if I've had such a good time and it's been such a great show, and then I come and watch this, first of all, I'm exhausted, and second of all, it's just I'm watching it and thinking, yeah, this is all right, but I can't go any further than all right because there's just nothing that's capturing my attention.
Well, if you weren't so exhausted, I'd suggest you watch the main event of that takeover to kind of balance it out.
I mean, I'm going to watch NXT hopefully later on at some point.
Yeah,
but I've heard good things. Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
But then again, like I'm using that phrase a lot.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, I'll boil us down to if you compare watching a bunch of different wrestling promotions to the good old comparison of food. I, for instance, really like Fuddruckers hamburgers. No Fuddruckers in my area. It seems like they just kind of disappeared forever, and there's like 3 in the entire country. Now, since I have had those burgers before, every time that I eat something else, I can think back and go, yeah, but you know what? It's not as good as Fuddruckers is. And if I were to eat Red Robin right now, Red Robin's my favorite burger spot. I don't like McDonald's hamburgers. And on a good day where I haven't had anything to eat and I'm starving, McDonald's burger could taste fucking amazing. If I'm just like, I gotta eat something and that hit the spot. If I just ate a Red Robin burger or a Fuddruckers burger, then that McDonald's one's not gonna taste as good. And when you watch something like you really enjoyed the New Japan show, you watch something like this, it's not gonna compare because you just watched something that you enjoyed even better. And this is something that I put, and I'll jump ahead, but I'll backtrack a little bit because we'll talk more about it. This is something that I worked into my review of the main event of the night. I said, it was fine, but a B+ when it's supposed to be an A+ seems like more of a failure than when you got something that's like exceeding expectations. So Pac and Omega, by all accounts, that's the type of match that people go apeshit over. And it's like, this should be the best thing you've ever seen in the history of pro wrestling and all this. And I'm sure there's some people that think that that's the case because
let me be clear.
Melina and Alicia Fox is the best match ever.
Well, let me be clear. Everybody on Twitter fucking loved this match. Mm-hmm. People were losing their minds for this match. And that's why, again, I'm in a very salty mood, so I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. But for me, this isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. I think it's good. But if I were to give star ratings, which I freaking hate, by the way, I hate star ratings because everybody just does that whole kind of thing of like, oh, why is it a 4.725 instead of a 4.928 or whatever? Me saying that this is a good match is one thing. Me saying I prefer NXT's style to this means I probably am going to give a higher score to Gargano and Cole. And that's fine. So anybody in the comments that wants to say, you guys are crazy because Pac and Omega, whatever like that, tell us that you liked it. Just, admit the idea that not every wrestling event is for everybody and all that. And for something to be good doesn't mean that it has to be the best thing ever or it's the worst thing ever. I give it a thumbs up. I think it was a good match. I probably would have enjoyed Moxley Omega better. And we'll see what that turns out to be when they do it.
I'm ready for it.
And I will say, though, from there, I enjoyed even more the Cracker Barrel Clash. This was stupid and silly and dangerous and fun, and
It was for the juggalos and juggalettes, I swear to God.
It might as well have been. Like, Superhuman's fucking fun. If anybody hasn't watched him on Facebook. Although I'm disappointed in that TV spot. That was his worst. We started this off with Jimmy Havoc stapling himself. It's like, cool, do that. They tie him up with the gaffer tape. They put thumbtacks in his mouth and tape that shut. The stupidest part of this whole thing was the paper cuts. I'm like, all right. Now, paper cuts suck, but they don't look real at all, obviously.
They lost me there because they did it about 5 times.
We got staples to the head. We got that chair flip spot where Joey Janela keeps sitting down. I thought that was fun. We got the sunset flip powerbomb onto the table. A skateboard with tacks on it. The coffin fall on the barrel.
Wild. A skateboard with thumbtacks on it. For what?
Well, the for what's for everything here. What the fuck are you doing?
But we didn't even talk about the first thing they did to Jimmy Havoc was tie him to a chair and stuff his mouth with thumbtacks. Like, what the fuck was I watching? These 3 white dudes were just trying to kill each other for some reason.
I hope that they made McPhilly proud.
It's basically like the tagline for AEW. It's dangerous fun.
Yeah.
And this was just a perfect example of this. I do have to say that Darby Allin has a huge amount of potential, but that potential will fizzle out very quickly when he kills himself in the ring in a couple of years' time.
Now, Jeff Hardy is still going. Take it easy.
Yeah, we're not all Jeff Hardy though, fortunately. But that's
the fact
neither
that Jeff
here nor
Hardy's
there.
still going is a miracle.
Yeah, and if he's a miracle, we can't have that many miracles. And it's just a case of that coffin drop spot. The coffin drop, and I combine this with Kofi Kingston's Trustful, is the stupidest move in wrestling today. Because what benefit does the guy who's doing the move have of trying to jump on someone when you can't see where you're landing?
The trust fall's not as bad when you're jumping into a big group of people, but this coffin drop thing where he's landing on the side of the apron or he knows ahead of time that he's jumping with a barrel and he's going to land on steps. That's like, dude, not going to work out well.
Well, well, let me just talk about the Trustful, and I know it's like this is AEW, not WWE, but the Trustful, how is it different from a crossbody? Other than the fact of a crossbody, if it's going wrong, you can put your arms or legs out or whatever and prepare yourself for the impact, rather than, oh, I hope that the guys that were there behind me in the first place are still behind me. Because if we're trying to suspend our disbelief and think that this is an actual fight that's going on, then doing a spot where, okay, I'm about to hit and move on someone. I have no idea if they're still there, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that was the same thing with the barrel spot, and this was just infinitely more dangerous because he went through a barrel and hit his back right on steel steps in the process.
Was it a takeover or was it a this? Because now I'm blending my cards up. Somebody did something of a move, and it wasn't just the Cracker Barrel one. It was something else on top of this, where they jumped and they just flat out missed everybody. Oh, it was Janela, I think. when he jumped and he landed like face first, and the referee didn't even bother.
Yes,
to check on him.
it was the 6-man tag, and he just does a fucking suicide dive, and he nails nothing.
No, I was thinking about the Janela thing, but if that happened in a 6-man tag, then it's another thing too. But the Janela one was he jumps and he lands face first around like the ramp, and the referee didn't check up on him, and I'm like, he looks like he could be potentially concussed, and maybe that's like something that they haven't trained these referees to really. I didn't see them checking up on a lot of people on some spots that I think that elsewhere they would be like, let me kind of go over and be like, you all right, bro? Yeah.
Nah, they were fine.
But Jimmy Havoc wins this, which we were all kind of thinking that he was maybe the person who would take the fall, or at least wasn't like a guarantee. And he ends up winning.
I mean,
Callum picked him.
No, I didn't.
You did, didn't you?
No, I picked Darby Allin.
Ah.
Yeah, I think we had 2 for Allin and 1 for Janela, I think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take any of my real predictions and like take it away or whatever, just for the sake of being right. But I guess the idea was we didn't, even though it was called the Cracker Barrel Clash, there was no real preparation for the fact that it was going to be a hardcore, essentially street fight triple threat, and maybe they decided to go with Jimmy Havoc because that's his reputation as being a hardcore kind of character. Whereas the other two, I mean, Janela's just a crazy person, and Darby Allin is clearly a crazy person as well, but Havoc has more experience behind him using weapons and in that sort of environment, so maybe they decided to go with that as like his thing.
I don't know. It was a wild match. It was one of my favorite matches of the night. It just hit a point where I was like, oh man, stop. What am I watching? Like, take a little bit of care of yourself. You have so many more matches to do, please.
Yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite segments of the whole night. And it unfortunately went into my least favorite segment. Best Friends versus Dark Order.
Oh, I don't give a shit about the Dark Order. And this is going to sound really harsh, but I don't give a shit. I don't even know why the fuck they're dark. Like, Evil Uno just looks fat. Like, there doesn't even seem to be anything menacing about him. I don't get it. I don't get what they're doing. I don't get why they are who they are. Why is Stu Grayson just Stu Grayson?
He looks like he should be more of the little brother of Eric from the Viking Raiders. And Evil Uno and the whole, what are they calling them again? The Creepers?
The Heartless?
The little out of shape people that hang around in the masks around them. I'm just not digging that at all. None of the package is working for me. I don't like that they're like, oh, we're going to be like The Undertaker. And it's like, no, The Undertaker's The Undertaker. You can't really pull that off. Best Friends, more and more I'm thinking that it's just kind of a vessel for Trent Beretta. And out of this whole entire segment, Orange Cassidy was the part that I liked the best.
Yeah, I think the Dark Order experiment has already fizzled out. And the fact that they're going to be getting this bye for this World Championship tournament means that they're probably going to get reasonably far into it. And the fact that on Double or Nothing they were the big surprise for the tag team division makes me feel like they do have big plans for them going forward, but they haven't resonated with the audience at all. I mean, you could hear a pin drop during this match. And I'll say this one as well. If I'm saying so many controversial statements, I don't give a fuck about the Best Friends. They don't interest me at all.
Wow!
They're just such a boring tag team. And their big spot is a hug. I mean, it was cool when Daniel Bryan and Kane did it, but like, I don't really care about these two.
I'll admit I like when Orange Cassidy's in the middle and he's just like, I'm here.
Orange Cassidy's interesting. I'm not as sold on him as Tony clearly is about him being the greatest thing since orange juice.
I do like orange juice.
But
give orange juice the belt.
But if he is limited to those spots where he does just dive out of the ring with both his hands in his pockets and he just has cool little spots like that, I can get around it. If he's going to be in AEW and you're going to prioritize this, kind of more sporting aspects and win-loss records counting and all that other stuff, then he needs to actually wrestle every now and again.
Let me be clear, but that whole sports aspect, I think that's part of the trouble Jim Ross is having on commentary. Because he's told, all right, we're really going to emphasize sports aspect. And then you get, hey, they're doing a hug and this guy's going to act all nonchalant about things. And I think it's confusing for him and it's confusing for me as a fan. And I think they need to pick a lane and stick to it. I realize that the wrestling business is changing and you can do everything and it's a buffet, but pick a lane.
There's a certain, obviously there's a problem with Vince McMahon having the final say of everything and always being able to shut everything down and only having one filter. But there's also a benefit to that too, because then you get consistency. And when you've got 8 cooks in the kitchen, then, they spoil the broth sometimes.
I agree.
I'd say I've watched a fair amount of Chuck Taylor in PWG and other smaller promotions where he does more of his comedy stuff, like the grenade spot and all that other stuff. And I think that's his level. Not to devalue him a little bit. I know he's a very capable wrestler, but I just see it in this and him having to be a bit more competitive and just in a real team, and it just all of that charm that he had from those other promotions just withers away.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about Beretta?
He does nothing for me. He's got no personality.
Where is Trent?
he has and I thought this all the time when he was in New Japan and being pushed as well. It was just a case of, why are you pushing this guy that's a real charisma vacuum?
No, fair enough.
Boy, we are being really harsh.
Yeah. I can't help the fact that he's never any walk of life that I've seen him in. Because when he was teaming Rocky Romero was the better part of that tag team, was the more interesting part of it. When he was in the Dude Busters, that was nothing.
Kalen Croft. I was trying to think of his name earlier, and I was like, who's that guy that was the Dude Buster? And Wago's like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and when he was trying to fight for the United States title, I mean, he's just a guy. It's just a case of, the only interesting part of this entire match was Stu Grayson, because he actually is really explosive in the ring.
Then we had the Riho and Shida match, which we already talked about. Then that moved into Cody versus Shawn Spears.
Woo!
And they had started this off with Shawn Spears comes out, he's got a bunch of contact lenses in, so he's looking a little creepy, and Tully Blanchard gets his own entrance and whatever. And they had said ahead of time that only one person's allowed to accompany both of them to the ringside. So Brandy comes out, and she's got this silver outfit on and a Star Trek logo, and she's got Pharaoh with her. DDP's there, and he's dressed up in a Star Trek thing, and MJF is dressed up in a Star Trek thing. And my first thought was, the fuck does Star Trek have to do with any of this?
Cody likes Star Trek.
Nerd. Nah, I'm kidding. The first two J.J. Abrams movies were good and nothing else. Pharaoh wanted nothing to do with being out
with this shit. I think the pyro scared him, or maybe he was attracted to the light behind him, but he was just not trying to come out.
What a good boy for soldiering through, but don't subject the dog to that. If he doesn't fucking like it, stop getting the dog to go out there.
He did good at All Out. I mean, All In, but he wasn't feeling it tonight.
This would be a case of the other WWF going after AEW after what happened on this.
Yeah, poor Pharaoh. And then he decides, Cody, meaning pronounced pals, they would say, he decides that MJF is going to be the one ringside for him. So that was MJF's whole purpose of this whole night. Doesn't end up really amounting to anything, because that's sort of the plan, which, tease the idea that he might potentially do something, but it doesn't happen, so they could do that later on in the future. It would have been weird if he would have, because then it would have been like, why are you just doing the same thing as this Shawn Spears thing? But we did get Arn Anderson showing up.
Wow. What a of all the things I thought I would see, Arn Anderson hitting a spine buster on Shawn Spears was not one of them.
I liked it overall.
I loved it.
It was a very bells and whistles type match.
The Gaga.
Yeah, which is kind of what Cody's become famous for.
And it was different.
Oh yeah, it was. I think, and some other people read a lot into this in the idea of Cody's giving himself the best matches.
No, I mean, he should kind of like he should. Everybody should be trying to have the best match.
Well, yeah,
and if he is booking that as being like, this is what I think would work really well, and if, for instance, the best friends in Dark Order, if that's all they could bring to the table, then that goes to show why Cody is at the top and somebody who was in WWE and somebody who is making more strides in popularity than some of the other people. You know,
I resent that a little bit because there's plenty of great talent on these shows. The fact that Cody's matches keep resonating with people is just a testament to the fact that I know it's a very WWE idea, but people do like stories when they're done properly.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you could have plenty of matches that are just two people go out there and have a hell of a show, and if you do it enough, it just becomes standard. And if you tell a good story, then that could be great. And if you have the same story and it's told through people that aren't as good, then that becomes standard too. It's all a matter of execution and overplaying yourself. So,
hey, now that we're talking about Star Trek, was Cody's entrance like where he rises from the panel basically a beam me up Scotty type move, or what?
I've always been more of a Star Wars guy, and I don't know for sure.
I can only imagine that would be the case.
That's cool.
It would have made more sense if someone would just shout, if Justin Roberts had shouted that through the microphone, and then like
it would have been kind of funny if they would have had, since DDP was wearing a red shirt, if they would have had somebody attack him.
They were all
yeah.
It took a couple of seconds or whatever.
Yeah, I figured that. I thought Cody was great in this match. Shawn Spears, like the eyes are a bit overbearing.
Yeah,
those contact lenses, but it made him stand out, and he looked good in this match as well. I think
he should have won.
Well, I think there's a pretty obvious reason why Cody won, and that's because they need someone to challenge the person who won the AEW World Championship, and it's pretty clear they're positioning Cody in that role.
I'm okay with that, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, but
I'm good with that.
I thought Tully Blanchard played his role very well. It's good to see him in this position, and I'm hoping that even though Shawn Spears lost this one, that this partnership continues and it does like bear some fruit down the road.
Full disclosure, I marked out when he taped his fist. I was like, oh shit, he's ready to just jump in the ring and fuck up people. I thought that was really cool.
And I mean, my favorite spot from the match was they did the tease with the Cody's weight belt, and then Tully Blanchard hands him his actual belt to beat Cody with, and Cody just takes it, and then he gets one right on the shoulder, and then he just beats the crap out of Shawn Spears. Just like was a really cool visual. Makes Cody look like a superhero.
Yeah, I like this match quite a bit. It's not the type of thing that I'm going to write down as being like some amazing best match of the year type of thing, but you know, in the context of this pay-per-view, one of my more favorite matches. So, thumbs up.
Yeah, served its purpose well.
Then they went a little bit higher with the a little bit higher. Look at that, my subconscious is making the jokes for me. With the AAA World Tag Team Championship ladder match that we had going on between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, and I had said before that I was not really into this match because I had seen it a couple times already, and I thought that it would be overrated, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. That Canadian Destroyer that Pentagón did was fucking sweet. I will say, these people got to stop doing these types of things where they just go, I'll be fine. Because Nick Jackson's fall, dangerous as all hell. Matt's fall, if I'm not switching the people up, Matt falls and lands with like his back in between the different rungs of the ladder. That could have been really dangerous too. A lot of parts throughout this whole night where it seemed like people were throwing caution to the wind. And I don't know if that's going to be the best thing for a long-term company. But I enjoyed the hell out of the match. I thought it was really fun.
I think the only way I can aptly describe this is if there was a porn category for ladders and table spots, then you'd have enough material here to wank yourself into a coma.
Yeah. That's a very elaborative way of describing it.
That's
very
a
flowery.
very distinctive fetish, but they delivered here.
I'm sure it's out there. Rule 34.
Yeah, but this is just, it was amazing to the point of excess. It's like you kind of think, okay, what can you do next? And then they just deliver something else, and you're like, okay, well, you must be close to the. Oh no, you're doing something else now. And it's just, it was like exhilarating in parts. It was downright scary in others. Like the one that really caught me out was the when they push Nick Jackson off through the tables on the outside, because he goes through one and his head just bounces off the other one, and I saw his hand, it looked red, and I thought, oh my god, he's just busted his head open, like wide open on that table. And fortunately it seemed like he hadn't, but it was just so much like flying around the ring, using the ladders, using the ropes, going through tables constantly, Canadian destroyers, super kicks all over the place, the sling blade off one side of the ladder to the other, which is a spot I've never seen before. It was just, I don't think I've ever seen a ladder match quite like it.
Was this peak Young Bucks? Like, is this like their?
I mean, this is what they do.
Yeah,
This
but
is
like
like
this
them.
is their masterpiece, right? This was fucking insane.
I would say this is the best match of the night.
I can't call it a match. It's not a match.
It's very distinctive fetish porn, Tony.
Yeah, no, but I'm going the opposite Drew thing. This is not a match because there's no structure to it. It's just a load of guys just hitting each other with moves off ladders. So I can't, in good conscience, call it a match. I can call it a huge like car crash, a collision, a stage show, a massive production, a giant clash at the end of a movie type thing. I can call it all those things. I can't call it a wrestling match because it's not a wrestling match.
I can buy into calling this a wrestling match more than an equivalent of somebody saying that, if we're going on the porn side of things here, that those are movies. You know? There's not going to be some Academy Award from somebody who's like, I don't know, School Sluts 9 or something, like, you know, whatever the hell any of those things are.
Obviously not that far, but this reminded me a lot of the Gargano Cole match.
Oh my god, yeah.
Takeover. Well, especially when it got to the closing stages, and also some of the Gargano Ciampa matches. In the case of, okay, so of just a regular tag team match, any one of these moves would be the end of the match. Whereas now they're somehow superhuman, and Matt Jackson can somehow still climb up a ladder after going through a Canadian destroyer off the top of a ladder through a table.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, how many matches have we seen where somebody gets like a slap to the face and then they get pinned just because it's interference? Or, you know, somebody hits somebody with a steel chair in their back and then it's like, oh my god, such a dastardly attack, and then you have a chairs match and you get hit 17 times.
I understand that side of thing, of like different situations call for different side of things, and people are going to be disappointed if these guys were to have a ladder match and didn't go that extra mile as they clearly did. I can't say it captured my imagination, certainly, and it definitely caught my attention just watching how crazy these guys would go. But I wouldn't say it was a better match than the Cody Shawn Spears one.
Fair enough.
Cody wins again, huh? Cody had the best match?
Well, it definitely wasn't the main event.
So is he learning from Triple H with how you were complaining before about Triple H always wrestling the longest match?
Well, he gets the best entrances as well, so yeah, he seems to be.
He beat up that throne, and then he was like,
"Well, what?
You know, hate trips."
And his wife got a position of power in the company as well, so that's great.
You don't like horses?
Well, that horse seemed to be a bit more in control of the situation than Pharaoh was, so at least Paige had that going for her.
That's some cowboy shit, man.
Oh, we had LAX attack afterward. That's another one of their big surprises.
They're not called LAX anymore.
Yeah.
What are they calling them this time now?
Well, I think they said
They
on
didn't get an
commentary it was
official name.
well, on commentary they call them the Boriquas.
But
then, fuck you. Really?
But then,
They-
wait. But then they called them, what was it, Los Puertorriqueños or something?
Well, the idea is they definitely can't be LAX because TNA still owns, well, Impact Wrestling, should I say, still owns the rights to the LAX name.
Yeah. They better not go from like, hey, we're going to be the new LAX to, hey, we're going to be the new Los Boricuas.
Well,
then they go to WWE and then it's like, hey, look, we're the clones.
God bless Primo, you know? Like,
yeah, just don't bite off of that. Give him a new name. Something that's like actually like an AEW type of thing or something. Don't just give him another, yeah.
Well, Santana on Twitter right now is using the 3 letters PNP, being for like Puerto Rican and proud. That's unique to say the least. I don't know if they should go with that.
Well, surely that
would of LAX.
Yeah, surely that would be PRNP.
Yeah,
no,
that should be.
No, I think they already have a PR guy.
Be like, coming into the ring, permp. Sound like a certain fart makes or something. Really quickly, everybody, if you're not subscribed to us on Facebook and Twitter, go ahead and follow us there. I'm sure you would love whatever happens if you want to hear more of the or anything else. If you are on iTunes, Stitcher, and all that other kind of stuff, and you are not chiming in your comments because you can't, then you should be heading over to YouTube and doing that. So that's our second to last match of the night, and our final one was the main event to crown the first ever AEW World Champion. It was Chris Jericho against Hangman Adam Page.
They ran a buffer before this for AEW Full.
That's right, yeah. So November 9th is going to be the next event. It's going to be called Full Gear. What are you guys thinking about the name of that?
Total red herring.
What do you mean?
I thought it was a giveaway that Adam Page was winning because the whole Full Gear thing is his thing.
I didn't even know that was his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
Well, here's
I wouldn't go to an event or a show titled Full Gear.
Here's the short and skinny, which is going to make it even stupider that they named an event this. Pac showed up on January 1st or whatever it was in full gear. While everybody else was in suits, he was in full gear. So then Page started becoming obsessed on the Being the Elite show with being full gear ready because he was pissed off that this dude just showed up in public, just in wrestling gear. And he wanted to be in full gear at all times. So they somehow made an event named Full Gear out of this, which is apparently going to see the possible Page Pac match.
Maybe that's their game plan, is to do like a number 1 contender match or something.
Oh.
And then they can put those two against each other and the winner faces Chris Jericho.
Oh my gosh, Chris Jericho won.
But even so, it would make more sense if it was called In Full Gear then. I'd be fine with that because it's just a case of like, okay, so they're all suited up and ready to go, that type of thing. Whereas if it's just called Full Gear, it just feels like it's missing something.
Yeah, I'm kind of blah about it. I don't really feel one way or the other. I sort of feel that like they could have done better. They could have done worse. It's not something that stands out to me as being like, oh, that sounds awesome. Full Gear. It's, you know, but I mean, it's no fucking Great Balls of Fire. So it could have been a lot worse.
That's exactly what everybody said on Twitter.
Yeah, that one had character to it.
It's gracious.
I am not a big fan of this main event. It wasn't bad, but as I mentioned before, when you say something's just fine and it's supposed to be the thing that sets the standard of these are the guys that are the 2 biggest ones in the company that are fighting for the championship to set the tone for the entire upper echelon of the entire future of the company to go, didn't do it.
This is becoming a recurring theme with me and AEW. Every match goes 5 to 10 minutes too long.
Oh, well, never mind what I said about that takeover main event then.
Well, that took 15 minutes. It was like 45 minutes long.
But this is just, yeah, it was a good match. I wouldn't go any further than saying it was good. And Page looked all right in spots. With I like his like flip over lariat that he does. I've always been hesitant with his shooting star press off the apron, because it's just one of those situations where you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, because you could do the exact same thing just running with a crossbody off the thing. You're just doing it because, hey, I can do a shooting star press. It's never really sat well with me. And Jericho was Jericho, which is the mixture of heel shtick with his greatest hits. And yeah, it was a good main event, but didn't blow me away.
I thought it was cool that Aubrey Edwards was the ref. They made history.
What was the history behind that?
She was the first female to ever main event a pay-per-view. I mean, referee a pay-per-view main event.
Huh. Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was
if that's
underwhelming.
if that's the main thing we can take away from it.
well, like, what do you want to say? Listen. They put the right fucking guy over, because Jericho had to be the first champion.
Yeah, he did, and I'm really happy that they ended up going with that.
And yeah.
I did like the nice touch of the fact that Jericho got colour over the same eye that Adam Page got it from Fight for the Fallen. So they decided to just carry on that side of that trend of it, and the fact that going back to Aubrey Edwards, Jericho getting in Aubrey Edwards' face. It's like, because Jericho's the one guy on that roster you probably think, yeah, he's probably going to hit a woman at some point.
Yeah,
he's done it before.
He can get away with it.
Yeah. So, but that would be, but yeah, so that's at least a good sign that they're not going to treat him any differently.
Which is exactly what we need.
Yeah. But there's just really nothing super exciting or compelling about this match. The fact that he's using a reverse elbow as his finisher is...
Yeah.
I mean...
It's the Judas effect, and it's beautiful.
I mean, they got it over. They've clearly got it over, because as soon as he hit it, the crowd thought that was the finish. And so he's clearly got that sold as, yeah, that's my finisher. And at least it differentiates a little bit.
I'm okay with that being a setup thing. I still don't like that. For that matter, too, there's a lot, whether it's WWE or AEW, I feel like there's like a lost art to finishers going on right now. Everything's either like too complicated for what would make sense. There's a lot of moves that people are doing. This, obviously, it's an elbow, so it's not too complicated. But there's a lot of things where it's like, I'm going to pick you up and spin you, and you're going to very lightly land on something. And like Pete Dunne's move seems overly complicated to me. And a lot of other things like that, where it's just like, okay, what did you do? You spun him around and slapped him on his ass, and that's a finisher or something? And then you get something like Jericho's, where it's like, you're going to do this triple Lindy 480 splash, whatever. I'm going to elbow you. And it's like, in comparison, sometimes those things just don't mesh well. And it's one dude's doing something too complicated, and the other one's like, oh, punch you. And you're like, all right, well, I don't buy into it all that much. I'm sure if you got elbowed in the face like that, it would knock you the fuck out. So I buy that more than some of the other ones. But after Jericho having the code breaker, to me, that's his best finisher.
I think it's just difficult due to the fact that if you go across like all promotions, there's probably a good maybe like 300 plus wrestlers that are competing on a week-to-week basis on TV, and trying to give them all different finishes means that people are going to get overly complicated or complex, or have to use strikes or other sort of situations in order to like differentiate themselves from others. Otherwise, you're just going to be a case of, oh, so you're just doing a DDT or a super kick or a splash.
It's a shame that doesn't work as much anymore.
No, you used to be able to get away with that side of things because you're wrestling less frequently, or you're wrestling on house shows. Now everyone's exposed on TV. They have to do something different. Otherwise, it's just a case of people still just copying the moves off other people. I mean, people still have a go at Dolph Ziggler for using the super kick and other people along those lines because somebody else used it first and somebody used it quote unquote better. So as soon as it's not like other people, and we saw a lot of cars on this show. It's not like anyone can do the RKO because frankly, they all do the RKO, but it's Orton's move.
Crossroads is one of the only finishers that I saw tonight that I felt like a finisher.
Which is funny because Damian Priest does that as well. So that's
I kind of hate the Crossroads because for me, it became like this move that a lot of guys did when they didn't know what else to do for a finisher. Like Carlito did it for a point. I think MVP did it for a while. Test did it for a while. It's one of those moves that everybody did.
Yeah,
but Cody makes it look good. The Judas effect, I like it. It was supposed to be a play on the sports-centric element, and I just don't see that from AEW right now. For God's sake, we talked about skateboards with thumbtacks and dinosaur men.
Skateboarding is a sport.
And Orange Cassidy and a guy named Marco. Like,
Marco Polo is a sport.
You know what? So is orange juicing.
When was the last time you saw Marco Polo at the Olympics?
Hey, you know what? It probably would be better off than some of the shit at the Olympics. The last time I tried to watch that, I was bored out of my fucking mind. Not that would be really all that interesting to be looking at Marco Polo and you seeing it on the screen and being like, he's over there. Oh my god, that'd be interesting to see. Well, that would fall more under the Fanboys Anonymous side of things, maybe, than like the Smark moment. But hey, I didn't plug Fanboys. Go to fanboysanonymous.com where you'll see Marco Polo stuff in the future. Maybe, I don't know. It's movies, TV shows, comic books, all that stuff. And actually, we're pretty much done.
Here's Chris Jericho. Shell, Marco Polo.
Yeah. So Jericho wins. He is the champion going forward. We all talked plenty about the idea of, well, how's it going to lead into the TV shows and all that stuff. So how you feeling? Going into this new TV deal and all the big things that go along with it, now that we've gotten 4 different events from AEW, 5 if you count All In, it's been a year. Are you feeling like they matched up to the quality? Or has this been a little underwhelming compared to what you were hoping for?
If I'm honest, it's been underwhelming.
I can't say I was expecting miracles, so I don't think it's been underwhelming. It's just I've still always been along the lines of thinking that I'm not going to really pass judgment on them until TV.
I'm still giving them at least until around WrestleMania time. And I know that's not their WrestleMania, but I feel like they're going to have to pick up their pace by then because there's just going to be, all the eyes are going to be on WWE. And if we get past WrestleMania and they haven't completely hooked me, then that's going to be a problem. And I've been having some issues with these 4 shows, and I've enjoyed a lot of things on these 4 shows as well. So for every be it Priestley, Sadie Gibbs in the first match of the night, every Cracker Barrel clash, and every Luchasaurus, all that stuff that I enjoy, there's Best Friends versus Dark Order, and the idea of being like, all right, well, I've seen Flipster A against Flipmaster B fight each other and do a bunch of no selling and have nothing to latch onto, and I don't know, they're still working at the kinks, so I'm gonna give them a little bit more leeway of that. But overall, I liked All Out, so I can't really complain. I don't ever want another fucking 2 pay-per-views, 3 pay-per-views.
I don't ever want to do this again, dude. Today was fucking annoying.
Yeah, so hopefully these companies at least figure that out a little bit better and they don't do direct competition. But then again, we've got Wednesday nights, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
But Wednesday nights, it's not like we got to record a podcast every night after this, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's not going to be happening, everybody. For anybody who wants the NXT post show and all that, nope, not happening. So, any other thoughts you guys have about All Out?
I really was expecting more.
Not as good as New Japan.
Okay. I did most of my plugs already. I think the only thing that I haven't mentioned yet is just what's coming up next for the week, which will be Hot Tags. Will be coming up on Monday, most likely. I'm usually probably sticking to that schedule, at least for now. And we're not exactly sure what the main event is going to be. We could be doing a Wrestling with the Past about the King of the Ring tournament. We could be doing a Mount Rushmore of the best 4 representation of the King of the Ring aspect. We could try to do a top rope list where we rank at least the top 10 and try to settle on a top 10 like that of King of the Ring winners. Or something else will pop up and it'll be like, hey, look at this, new WWE pay-per-view or something like that. So if you have any suggestions, drop a comment below. Tell us what you would like to see, and we'll try to keep all that in mind. But I am out of my plugs. It's time for these guys to plug their stuff. Callum?
If you want to listen to even more content, you can check out 2001 A Wrestling Odyssey.
I'm on that.
Yeah, Rob is on that. Tony's not because he doesn't like the past. And we have it's our little like retro podcast where we go back in time to the year 2001, check out all of the events and news that was taking place in that time. Have monthly episodes stretching all the way back to January through to August, which is our latest one, including a special episode on WrestleMania X7, and the September one will be coming out later in September, which for me now is. So.
No, it's for September for us too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, rabbit, everybody.
But yeah, other things, you can follow me on Twitter, weekmost14, and check out all the weekly articles on Smark at the moment, but especially the power rankings because I wrote it and therefore it's the best one.
Well, I contribute to the Triple Threat, and that makes it the best one because I never stop doing things. And I'm always doing things, and other things I'm doing is Fightful.com. I'm with Fightful for the rest of the weekend, and I'll be doing all the news there. And that team is great, and they're great people. And Sean Ross Sapp has gotten a bunch of media up from All Out. I almost said SummerSlam. Good Lord. And yeah, lots of great content coming on Fightful.com. Lots of okay content coming out of wrestling news. Ring Report, Smark at Moments, great. WrestleZone.com. Everybody's at StarCast. It's fun. It's great. Wrestling's great. Follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice.
And follow me at Mango Tree, all over that stuff. I got the fanboy stuff. I got the Smark Out Moment stuff. I got other stuff, and I'm really, really hoping that I get some time to do something other than wrestling for a little bit. And I'm actually going to potentially just watch a stupid movie or something later on. I think I fucking deserve it. So that'll do us in for this edition. Thank you for listening to this, everybody. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we are all out of time and being counted out.